Kana hop napi relatives, Membiwa, Tahushka, Opi Miha. What's good today, relatives? It's Opi Miha coming to you again with another video. We'll let some people get in here. See who we got in the building. All right, we got Love Legacy 500. Peace. I am Flying Squirrel. Peace, bro. Thanks for being here. Mizak, what's good, relative? Thanks for stopping through. Really appreciate it. Stay focused. Thanks for coming through. Appreciate you. Peace, everybody that came through. All right, y'all. So on today's video, found some gems that I wanted to share with everybody, and also wanted to show a few other things that will definitely help you out on your genealogy searches. So let me share my screen real quick, and then I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay. So on the screen, you should see, should say North Carolina Gen Web. So what I wanted to let everybody know that most states have this Gen website. And the nice thing about it is, I'll give you a few examples here, like for North Carolina. Right here where my pointer is, there's a thing that says 100 counties. Okay. So I'm going to click on that. Wait for that to pull up. And then what you get here is a list of all the counties. And when you go into these counties, the cool thing about this is a lot of these will have like, trying to find one here. A lot of these will have, here, let's check Halifax real quick. So a lot of these will have where you can like look up census records. It'll say like Native American. So you can see all the stuff here, surnames, the history of the county, court, families, wills, all kinds of stuff is in this. So if you're wondering about a particular state and some surnames in particular counties, just go into Google and type in like South Carolina Gen Web, Alabama Gen Web, Georgia Gen Web, you know, whatever it is you're looking for. And usually there will be a Gen website. Now, some of the states are a little bit further along than others, so you may get a few counties where they still are like working on it, you know, trying to get it up to where it should be. But this is a good way to do some surname searches and trying to find, like, you know, what county or whatever it is you're looking for. Okay. So that's what I wanted to show everybody. Like I said, this one is North Carolina Gen Web, but again, you can do this for almost any state. All right. So let's get into what I was going to go over here today. Also, peace, Copper Hot Step. I see you, bro. So let's get into this. All right. So on the Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina family history, where you find the names, they have a thing that has a introduction on it, and I was reading through it and stumbled across some pretty interesting stuff. So I'm gonna do some reading here. Y'all know how I do, so just bear with me because you're gonna hear some gems in this. All right, and I'm gonna start at this section here. So it says, after the Civil War, the former free persons of color voted for the same party as the former slaves, Republican. It said this made for an almost equal division between the Democrats and the Republicans in Robeson County. And then it says, and in North Carolina as a whole. And then it says, however, those who had been free before the Civil War objected to the arrangement whereby the schools were divided between whites and colored districts. Their settlements were included in 12 of Robeson County's colored districts. This classified them with the former slaves. All right, let's keep it moving. Then it says, oh, peace, original Copper Empress Hobart. Peace, sis. And then it says, let me see where I left off. Okay. It says, in 1885, North Carolina passed a law sponsored by Hamilton McMillan, a Democrat from Robeson County. It says creating separate school districts for the former free persons of color of the county. Then it says McMillan invented the name Croatan Indians and theorized that they had descended from a friendly tribe of Indians on the Roanoke River in eastern North Carolina who had mixed with the whites in Sir Walter Raleigh's Lost Colony in 1587. So I know a lot of us have probably heard of this story. You know, we all know what this is talking about. It says 12 Croatan Indian districts were created from districts which have formerly been colored. Then it shows where you can find the minutes for that information. It says this swung many of their votes to the Democrats. All right, let's keep it moving. Thus, after Reconstruction, the former free persons of color population in Robeson County helped the Democrats solidify their position in the legislature and establish North Carolina as a Jim Crow state. This solved the problem of drawing racial lines in a county where they had been blurred. In 1900, when the former slaves were disenfranchised by Jim Crow laws and red shirt violence, the Croatan Indians lost much of their political influence since the Republicans were no longer a factor in politics. All right, let's keep it moving. And it says the 1885 law did not confer any benefits, just made a division that created three castes in Robeson County. You had white, colored, and Croatan Indian. Later, there would be three sets of water fountains, seating areas, restrooms, etc. It says the change of name from mulattoes to Croatan Indians did not change white attitudes toward them. Whites shortened the name to the pejorative Crows. The name was changed to Cherokee Indians of Robeson County in 1913, Siouan Indians of Lumber River in 1934 to 1935, and they were recognized by the U.S. Congress as Lumbee Indians in 1956. All right, let's keep it moving. This part says Indians in the Southeast. The 1885 North Carolina bill changed the history of Indians in the Southeast. Anthropologist James Mooney included the Croatan Indians and other mixed race communities in adjoining North and South Carolina counties in his studies of the Indian tribes of the Southeast in 1907. And Frank G. Speck traveled throughout the Southeast discovering lost tribes. All right, it says Person County granted a group called Old Issue Negroes their own separate school on February 2nd, 1887. It was discontinued about 1896, but reestablished on January 4th, 1901. Listed as Mongolian through 1906, Cuban from April 6 to 1908 through 1911, and listed as for the Indian race in October 1912. Then it shows here where you can find these minutes as well. It says other invented North Carolina Indian tribes followed. It says the Sampson County Cohari Indians, Columbus County, Waccamaw, Siouan Indians, and Halifax County, Haliwa Saponi Indians. Virginia recognized the former free persons of color community of Norfolk County as Nansemond Indians and the community in Amherst County as Monacan Indians. Then it says, a study in 1920 described the group in Halifax County. Probably the largest group of free Negroes to be found in North Carolina was the exclusive Old Issue settlement known far and wide as the Meadows, near Ransom's Bridge on Fishing Creek in Halifax County. The group still bears the appellation Old Issue and are heartily detested by the well-to-do Negroes in the adjoining counties. Then it says, these arrangements with the former free persons of color communities were probably a major factor in creating the 20th century fiction that light-skinned people who look nearly white are Indians. All right, so I'm gonna stop for just a second there, see who we got in the chat real quick. Let's see, we got Empress Isha, peace, sis. P. Parker, peace. Thanks for stopping through. Appreciate you, fam. All right, y'all. So we're going to keep it moving here. So here's another thing that's interesting that I found in this here, the not Negro law, that I didn't even know about this. So I'm going to read this to y'all. It says earlier in 1833, a Norfolk County legislator helped pass a law which allowed very light-skinned people to register as Indians upon satisfactory evidence of white persons. The thinking behind this law was that people who were practically white should not have to suffer the indignity of registering as free Negroes. Then it shows where you can look up this information as well. It says, of the families that registered as such, only the Bass family had any Indian ancestry. So dodge that hijack. And that was from 6 generations back. Ironically, Norfolk County did not apply this law to the Cook family, who actually had a court ruling that they were free based on descent from an Indian woman. And then it says they were apparently too dark-skinned to qualify for certificates of Indian descent. So that's just wrong. We know that. See how they was doing back then. It says usage of this law was largely confined to Norfolk County. Other counties continue to register very light-skinned people as bright mulattoes, as Norfolk had before 1833. All right, so just keep it moving. It says Indian reservations. By the mid-18th century, Indians on Virginia's reservations were too few in number to have continued to exist solely through endogamous relationships. In 1708, there was a Pamunkey Queen, Anne, and 12 great men. Mr. Yonks, Mr. John, Mr. Poe White, Tho, Beck, Fra, Maako, Shem, Mirren, Henry Marshall, James Corvin, Thoss, Rogers, Charles Thoss, Zekeshwa, John Hicks. And it says 40 years later in 1748, the tribe, George Langston, John Langston, William Langston, George Talha, John Sampson, Thomas Cook, Thomas Sampson. And it goes on to say, having been afflicted with long and grievous sickness and debt for medicines, doctors, attendants, corn, clothing, and other necessities, they were unable to petition the governor to allow them to sell a tract of land of 88 acres, which was 4 miles from their town. Then it shows where you can see that information as well. It says, it is likely that the Langstons, Sampson, and Cook families descended from non-Pamunkey men. The Langston family apparently descended from Indian Langston, who was paid by the Henrico County Court on October 12, 1691 for killing wolves. And the Sampson family likely descended from John Sampson, a free mulatto who lived in Elizabeth County in 1715. It goes on to say in the 1750s, the Mush family, descendants of Chickahominy Indian James Mush, joined the community. And by the time of the Revolution, there were members of the Major family who were probably related to free Eastern Shore Indian Peter Major, African slaves, and an Indian slave named Cook. All right, and then it shows you where you can look up that information as well. All right, let's keep it moving. Then it says on September 12th, 1771, a slave owner advertised in the Virginia Gazette that his yellow complexioned slave Frank had run off to his Pamunkey wife. All right, and then it shows that article was in the Virginia Gazette. And if you guys go to this where I'm reading this from, it actually has the links where you can actually look up where they have all this stuff written down. All right, and let's move it. Let's see. The Revolutionary War pension files of John Collins and Stephen Freeman indicate that the Pamunkey and the Mattapony Indian communities were part of the free African American communities, Dasha Hijack, in surrounding counties and grew up with each other as children. All right, and again, you can see gives you the links where you can also look up that info. Then it says free African American, but we use American Indian families that married into the tribes include the Adams family, Almond family, Arnold, Bradby, Brisby, Collins, Cooper, Costello, Dickey, Dungy, Edwards, Freeman, Hills, Holmes, Holt, Key, Miles, Mills, Page, Sweat, Twopence, Wheeler or Willie, and Went. All right, keep it moving. It goes on to say that Molly Holt, Rhodey Arnold, Billy Sampson, and Squire Osborne, free Negroes, all free persons of color, were heirs of John Freeman, who died while serving in the Revolution, according to testimony by Jane Collins, a free woman of color. It says Nancy Major died from domestic violence in Henrico County in 1819, according to testimony of Agnes Langston, and the slave who testified to a Henrico County coroner's inquest that Nancy's slave husband was in the habit of beating his wife severely and frequently, and that Nancy had died after one such beating. All right, let's keep it moving. Several members of the Langston, Sampson, and Major families moved to Petersburg and registered there as free Negroes in the early 19th century. Minerva Gunn, an Indian of the Pamunkey tribe, married Austin Curtis, a free Negro, in Petersburg and emigrated with him to Liberia in 1823, as did three members of the Sampson family. All right, and we've all heard of them sending some of our people off to Liberia. So it says 145 whites in Kings William County, Virginia, petitioned the legislator on January 20th, 1843, concerning the Pamunkey tribe, saying they all have 1/4 or more of Negro blood. Not an individual can be found among them whose grandfathers and grandmothers, one or more, is or was not a Negro. Their land is now inhabited by two unincorporated bands of free mulattoes in the midst of a large slaveholding community. So we all know that that them saying that they had Negro blood, that just means that they had American Indian blood. All right, let's keep it moving. It says the Pamunkey submitted a counter petition in which they claim that there are many here that are more than half-blooded Indian, though we regret to say that there are some here that are not of our tribe. So all that means is that, they probably had people from other tribes joining in with them, but doesn't mean, they weren't saying that, those other people weren't Indians. All right. Let's keep it moving. It says by the 1850s, the Pamunkeys were frequenting Richmond, Terrell, Richard, Edward, and Pleasant Bradby advertised in Richmond newspaper for the return of their free papers, which they had lost in Richmond. Pleasant Miles attempted to have his wedding reception there in 1853, but the police broke it up because the law against free Negroes congregating together in large numbers. 16 of the 20 guests were free Negroes, residents of Richmond. 4 were from the Indian town. All right. Keep it moving. The July 1853 edition of the Richmond Morning Mail reported that the mayor had called the attention of his police officers to the fact that a large number of half-breed Indians, or rather descendants of the Pamunkey tribe, who by intermarriage with Negroes had obliterated all traces of their originality, were congregating in the city, and as far as he could prevent it, they would not be allowed to settle here. All right, let's keep moving. In the case of Richard Bradby, the mayor argued that if his father were a Negro, the prisoner was no more an Indian than would the offspring of a white woman by a black man be white. The kinky hair and general appearance of the accused was such to convince him that he was nothing more than a free Negro, and he should therefore fine him $1 for being drunk and commit him to prison as a free Negro without a register. All right, now there's also a link here where you can look up this case as well. All right, let's keep it moving. It says Rhoda Sampson, a descendant of the Pamunkey Indians, was a resident of Richmond between 1854 and 1860, when she appeared in editions of several newspapers after getting into fights, once with a slave and once with Betsy Martin, a free negress, an associate. All right, then it also shows where you can read this information as well, the link for that. All right, and it says by 1900, descendants and spouses of just one free mulatto, Thornton Allman, represented 41 of 50 persons on the Mattapony Reservation and 31 of 84 on the Pamunkey Reservation. Then it says, see the Allman family history in the 1900 census for King William County. And I went over that in a previous video. All right, let's keep it moving. It says the Gingaskin Indians of Northampton County, Virginia, said to be as numerous as all other tribes in the county put together, numbered only 30 persons by 1769. In 1812, 11 adult members of the tribe petitioned the governor to allow the sale of their lands. 6 of the petitioners bore the names of African-American families or American Indian families that had been free in Northampton County since the colonial period. That would be the Bevins or Bibbins, 2 petitioners, the Carter family, the Collins family, Drighouse or Driggers family, and Francis family. Then it says trustees of the Gingaskin tribe of Indians petition Northampton County. And then it shows where you can find that digital collection. All right, let's keep it moving. Petitioners Edmund Press descended from William Press, born 1706, an Indian who was born in Accomack County, of the body of a free Negro called Priscilla. In 1828, the clerk of New Hampton County Court stated that their descendants were respectable free Negro landowners. All right, so that's the other thing that we going to have to address here sooner or later is all of these people who they claim were slaves were all landowners. So not sure how that's happening, but let's keep it moving. The nearest thing to a census of the reservation is provided by the deeds by which Indians living on tribal lands sold or leased their land. The deeds were signed by chiefmen and women of the tribe. The principal members of the Nottoway and Nansemond living in present-day Southampton County were King Edmunds, James Harrison, Ned, Peter, Robert Scholar, Sam, Wanoke, Wanoke Robin, William Hines, Frank, Wanoke Robin Jr., Cockeroons Tom, and Cockeroons Will. Then it says Sam, Frank, Jack Will, John Turner, Watt Bailey, and George Skipper in 1750. John Turner and Selina Rogers, a Nansemond Indian, and Sookie Turner in 1795. All right, let's keep it moving. Between 1734 and 1756, the Nottoway had been so reduced by the want of the common necessities or necessaries of life, sickness, and other casualties, that the Virginia legislature allowed them to sell a total of 18,000 acres of their land in Southampton County. That's a lot of land. Wow. They used land sales and leases to support themselves. There were only 6 adults and 11 children in the census taken in 1808. So that's all the people they put down. That doesn't mean that's all there was. It says adults were Littleton Scholar, Tom Turner, Jimmy Winoak, Eddie Turner, Nancy Turner, and Betsy Stepp. Then the children were Tom Stepp, Henry Turner, Alexander Rogers, John Woodson, Winnie Woodson, Annie Woodson, Polly Woodson, Fanny Bartlett, Solomon Bartlett, Billy Woodson, and Jenny Woodson. And it says no adult Indian was married to or sharing a household with any other adult Indian. All right, then it shows where you can look up that information as well. It goes on to say a legislative petition from Southampton County in 1818 reported that their husbands and wives are chiefly free Negroes. All right. And goes on to say the names of the Piscataway Indians living in Richmond County, Virginia, were mentioned in a court case in September 1704. We got Young Toby, Long Tom, Jack the Fiddler, Old Mr. Thomas, Bearded Jack, Jimmy, Harry Capos, and Bearded Jack. So I'm not sure about these names or why they, I guess they were like what they called them, I guess. All right, let's keep it moving. Members of the Saponi in Orange County, Virginia, were mentioned in a court case in 1742, 1743, in which they were charged with stealing a hog and burning the woods. We got Alex McHarchin, John Bowling, Manissa, Calf Tom, Isaac Harry, Blind Tom, Foolish Jack, Charles Gibb, John Collins, and Little Jack. All right, then it says the names of the Piscataway Indians living in Richmond County, Virginia, were mentioned in a court case in September 1704. We got Young Toby, Long Tom, Jack the Fiddler, Old Mr. Thomas, Bearded Jack, Jimmy, Harry Capos, and Bearded Jack. All right. And then it goes on again to say the members of the Saponi in Orange County, those same names that we already read. So we'll keep it moving. Next, we got the North Carolina reservations. Some of the names of the Chowan tribe were recorded in Chowan County deeds by which they sold their land on Bennett's Creek in 1734 in what was later Gates County. They were Charles Beasley, James Bennett, Thos Hoyter, Jeremiah Pushin, John Reading, John Robbins, and Noose Will. Says there were only 2 men and 5 women and children in the tribe in 1754. When the surviving members of the tribe sold the last 400 acres of their 11,360 acre patent in 1790, they were described as a parcel of Indian women which had mixed with Negroes, and now there is several freemen and women of mixed blood, as aforesaid, which has descended from the said Indian, the said freemen, did in the late contest with Great Britain behave themselves as good and faithful soldiers. All right, let's keep it moving. Let me stop real quick for a second, look at the chat, see what's going on. Let's see who we got in there. Star Strike, peace, fam. Curameo, peace, bro. Wanagi, kind of hobnoppy relative. Let's see. Chief Alchemy, what's good? Adam Brooks, glad to see you here, bro. I am you. Appreciate you being here. Much respect. All right. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm going to get Curameo in here real quick. Get him on here. Curameo, you in? Hang on 1 second because I can't hear you, so give me a second. If you guys can hear Curameo, press 1. Curameo, you in? Okay. Curameo, you in? Hang on, y'all. Let me. Yeah, it sounds a little distorted. Chakra God, sorry about that. Hey, Curameo, try dropping out and coming back in. Yeah, we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait for him to come back in. Yeah, I heard it too, Wanagi. It did sound bad. See if he tries to come back in again. All right, there he is. Let me see if we can get him in here.
Hey, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
There you are. I hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Just continue, bro. Don't worry.
Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me? There you are. I hear you now.
Yep.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Just continue, bro. Don't worry.
All right. I hear you. Can you hear me? There you are. I hear you now.
Yep.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Just continue, bro.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna get back to where we were at. Hold on, family. Give me one quick second here. Hey, Kuda man, you can talk to him for a second. I'm gonna try to grab some headphones so I can hear you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I just want to say, peace and, what's up to everybody tuned in. Just here supporting brother Opemija. He does a lot in the background. Even before he had all these videos up, he's been putting in the work. So, I fully support him and all he does. Trust me, he does a lot for this community. All right, so I think he left. Yeah, so I just want to emphasize, I guess, since I'm here, all these articles and stuff, they're always going to say mixed with Negroes and stuff, but you got to dodge the hijack because they're just talking about American Indians, and they don't have no proof when they're trying to kind of hint to us that they're trying to say that they're Africans and stuff, but there's no proof when you go do the research. So that's just something to have in mind, when they say they mix with Negroes, they're just talking about other American Indians, maybe from other tribes or other parts of America. All right, so all right, Opie, can you hear me, Opie? Yeah, I didn't mean to come, interrupt. I was invited, so just wanted to join. Can you hear us, Opie? Can you hear me?
All right, family.
All right, can you hear me?
All right, family.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. All right, family. All right, I'm gonna jump back into this. Yeah, I can hear you. All right, family. All right, I'm gonna jump back into this. Yeah, I can hear you. All right, family. All right, relatives. So where we stopped off, it says about 300 Tuscarora men, women, and children were living on 40,000 acres in Bertie County between 1752 and 1761. It says the tribe never gave up its Indian customs. They still required an interpreter in 1752. It says their numbers had been reduced to 260 in 1766. When they leased part of their land, 155 members of the tribe moved to the state of New York after the 1766 lease, and the remainder joined them in 1802. So since they left the southeast, it is difficult to determine the extent to which they mixed with the free African American population Dodge at hijack of Bertie County. However, the colonial Bertie County records, which have been abstracted by Winnett Parks Hunt, do not indicate any interactions between the English colony community and the Indians other than the sale of their lands. which are recorded in the deeds of 1766 and 1777, by which they leased over 8,000 acres of land in the southwest corner of Bertie County between the Roanoke River and the Roquas Poccasin to the Attorney General. Their names were, all right, we got James Allen, Sarah Basket, Thomas Basket, William Basket, Betty Blount, Billy Blount Sr., Billy Blount Jr., Edward Blount, George Blount, Sarah Blount, Thomas Blount, Billy Blount Jr., Samuel Bridgers, William Kane, John Kane, Molly Kane, Winnie Oak Charles Jr., Winnie Oak Charles Sr., Billy Cornelius, Charles Cornelius, Isaac Cornelius, Billy Dennis, Sarah Dennis, Billy George, Snip News George, Wyatt Gibson, James Hicks, John Hicks, Sarah Hicks, Senecar Thomas Howe, Tom Jack, Captain Joe, John Lightwood, Isaac Miller, James Mitchell, Billy Mitchell, Billy Netoff, Billy Owens, John Owens, Nain Owens, William Pugh, John Randall, Billy Roberts, Tom Roberts Jr., John Rogers, Harry Samuel, John Senecar, Thomas Senecar, Ben Smith, John Smith, Molly Smith, Thomas Smith, Billy Sockeye, William Taylor, Bridgers Thomas, Tom Thomas, Lewis Tuftick, West Whitmill, let's see here, Isaac Wheeler, James Wiggins, John Wiggins, Molly Winock, and Bet Yellone. All right, and it says the Cherokee lived in the mountainous regions of North Carolina and East Tennessee and had little contact with the colonists. All right, family. So that was the information I wanted to read to you. And let me stop screen sharing and go back on here. But as you can see, there was quite a bit of hijacks in there. But we also learned that that in North Carolina, you know, they were trying to make the lighter skin American, you know, people, American Indians, and the darker skinned people stay Negro. So, you know, I did look at some census for that county where there were still some people that were showing up as Negro, while we had others, you know, that had the status of Indian. And that was on my Robeson County video that I did. So now we found out why. Kudameo, did you want to jump in and say anything?
Yeah, so we got to be careful. You know, it's very complex when
I mute
they're
my mic while you're talking.
talking about complexions and all that, and what an Indian or what a Negro should look like and all that. I mean, for example, we got a news grandmother he showed us, a great grandma, labeled mulatto, and she's the same complexion as Opie or even darker. So it's not only that they were labeling mulatto people who were light skinned, but I mean, Opie has shown a lot, Wanagi has shown a lot. You know, these are code words for American Indians most of the time. It wasn't just because they were light skinned. So, you know, you got to go into your senses and your families. You're going to see all these, you know, all these errors, all these words they've taken out. You know, they cross it over and change the race, or, you know, you'll see it a different race every 10 years, you know, and so, you know, you can see when they were, as society moves on, and statutories and classification changes, that they also did it on the census, so you can catch them doing that. Right, so it's very important. I mean, Opie and Wanagi and them, got me to start doing my genealogy. You know, I didn't even think I could find stuff like that. And yeah, it's in there, man. If you guys just put a little bit of effort, get the info from your ancestors and your family members, your grandparents. If they're still alive, take advantage. You know, great grandparents especially. You know, take advantage of all that. If you don't not talking to them, or you haven't talked to them in a while, go get the info. They may have things that they might remember when they were young that they might not have talked about for years to anybody. So, you know, get that info, you know, get the surnames, locations, start doing it. You guys are going to be surprised what you find. And, you know, support Opie. He does a lot in the background. Like I said, always passing articles, passing information to us. You know, I know that if he just came out with his info, his channel will grow. So, you know, make sure to always support the brother. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to do that. Like, you know, the video right now, we got 40 watching, we only got 21 likes. So, you know, support the brother. This is a real person. When I mean real, I mean like real sincere, a real brother. My experience with him, nothing negative. All right. So, I mean, I hope you guys get to experience him in that way as well. You know, open yourself to what he's showing to you guys, because it's, you know, he does it because he really cares, and he really wants people to know who they are. And it's not about money or anything like that. All right. So, yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say. And thanks for inviting me, by the way.
And thanks for inviting me, by the way.
Oh yeah, no problem, brother. You know, you're welcome anytime, anytime. But yeah, you know, just like Kudamero was saying, it's you know, it's really important to get this genealogy done, because this honestly is gonna be how you tie yourself to this land. Um, and like Wanagi always says, genealogy is the key. Y'all can see it up on the screen. Um, that's you know, that's real facts. That's the truth, because this is the first step. Like we can't go any further than this. I know, you know, there's other people doing other things, but um, this is how honestly you're going to tie yourself to the land, tie yourself to, you know, the Americas. Um, you know, I know we all got, you know, there's many different paths to get to where we're going. Um, you know, if you, and I know sometimes genealogy is tough. It's hard. You know, I'm still working on mine. Um, you know, it's probably never ending, as most of you know. But you know, we definitely gotta keep at this, keep going with it. You know, as tough and as hard as we can with it. Um, but next video that we end up doing, we'll be back into the family history, and we'll be back into Delaware and Maryland family histories. And I'm hoping that here pretty soon that we can, you know, get a live stream going with, you know, with the brother Wanagi, myself, and maybe some others on there. But let me hit up the chat again, because I see we got some other people in here. Want to say peace to Chakra Khan. Appreciate you being here, sis. I also appreciate your kind words. What you said to me is why I do this. So I really appreciate it. Purple Carnation, uh, always there. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. Indigenous, American Leo, peace family. Thanks for coming in. Copper Wolf, appreciate you being here, brother. Thank you. Peace to two birds of the same feather. Um, definitely salute, brother. I appreciate you being here as well. Joe 47, what's up, my bro? Good to see you. North Indian Wolf, what's good, family? Good to see you back, man. Let's see who else we got. Let's see. Say Wanagi. Most are simple. Appreciate you being here as well. See who else we got. Stephen Redclay, what's good, relative? Good to see you again. Let's see what else we got. I got the Wood Smith. Appreciate you being here, fam. Appreciate you. Let's see who else we got. Making sure I didn't miss anybody. Soapbox Jones, good to see you. Peace. All right. So, again, I hope everybody got something out of the article I just read. Because you can see just by what I read the hijacks. You see what they was trying to do to us back then. Trying to make some people Indians and some people not just because of the way they look. But we all know better than that. So that's all I gotta say about it. But again, appreciate everybody being here. I think we're probably going to come to an end with this live stream. But again, I appreciate all of you being here. And I'll try to, should be back tomorrow with the family history. You guys let me know if you want me to do it live in the comments. We probably will do that. But again, look out for a live stream from Wanagi. I know he's got some real good information coming here real soon. So peace to him. And also Kudameo, always dropping bombs as always. Kudameo, did you want to say any closing words before you go?
No, yeah, just thanks for being here with Opie, supporting him, support everybody who's putting out the truth out there, especially with a good heart, with no negative intentions and stuff. Measure, who these people are and what their intentions are. And I'm just saying that as advice. And also, do your genealogy. Um, you're gonna find more and more evidence of who you are. It's been under our noses this whole time, really, and that's what we're finding out. All right, we just needed to kind of break a spell, wake up, and look in the right places. All right, and stop believing the fairy tales. So yeah, a lot of videos coming out. I know Opie has so many because we talk on the back chat, so look out for that. Wanagi also supported a new. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. A lot of you guys follow me and support me, and I know you guys for a while now. So peace to everybody here. Um, thanks for the invite again. And again, support everybody who's doing this. Know who you are, man. And let's try to unite instead of trying to pick out and say, oh, you should talk about this and you shouldn't talk about that. So just try to have an understanding of what everybody brings out. And if you got something to disprove it, do it in a scholarly way, respectfully. Help us learn. That includes me. All right, we're all students. None of us have all the info or anything like that. So yeah, if you're welcome to always correct anybody as long as you come respectfully with facts and stuff. We can we can look over the info and verify it. That's all I ask. All right. So yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for the invite, Opie.
Oh yeah, it's all good. Kudameo, anytime, bro. All right, family. Well, with that being said, as always, I will catch you guys later. Peace and love. We out.